We are live. Misfit Toys, comedy in the house. I need to hear some snaps. I need to see some jazz hands. Yes, I can feel you all the way in the UK and London. We can feel you in Wales and Scotland and Ireland. We can feel you in South Africa. We can feel you in New York, America. We can feel you, LA. We can feel you. Even if we can't see you, we can feel you doing those jazz hands. Wake yourself up, America. We are back. We are celebrating, and I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, we have the talented author, comedian, inspiration, Bobbie Oliver from Los Angeles. How are you?
Yay, I'm so excited to be here.
We are very excited to have you.
So for those of you that don't know, number one, Bobbie Oliver, go to Amazon, get the book, watch the special, and if you are a comedian, you especially get the book. She is such a wealth of knowledge and such a beacon of hope, especially in these times of darkness. It's just amazing. What we usually start with breakfast and BITCH, but I just want to just take a pause. What was the catalyst for your comedic journey? What started you on your comedic path?
Well, I mean, I was always a comedy fan when I was a kid. Like, one of my few good childhood memories was watching The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson every night with my daddy. And I was just a comedy fan. You know, it seemed to all be like 35-year-old dudes. And then a few women, but they tended to be more characters. And so, you know, I love Phyllis Diller. I love Lily Tomlin, but I really was just like a fan of comedy. But then within a short period of time, Roseanne and Brett Butler were on The Tonight Show. And then when I saw them and I saw myself in them, I went, oh, I could do this. I could actually do this. So that's why I think role models are so important. I think every type of person who does comedy, every type of person should do comedy so that every type of person can see themselves in that person and know to have that dream.
There is this, I don't know if you call it a meme or a photo, but it's going out on social media of this like rainbow photos of all of the women of color that are in our government now. Have you seen this meme?
Oh, no, but I love that.
Colors of all of the significant, strong women that have made up this inauguration. And I always say this to my students and to in the workshops that I teach, even when I do corporate, workshops, that we cannot see the light of humanity without every single color. And we need every single color, every story to shine bright for us to see ourselves, our humanity. And
that's beautiful.
I love it. I love it. So, time to breakfast and BITCH. So there's not a lot to BITCH about for us, for me personally, because it's been an amazing couple days. Yeah. But do you have anything to BITCH about?
Oh, please. I can always bitch about something. I can always bitch about something. I want to be about unity right now, but I want to bitch about the people in Congress who helped, who tried to overturn the election and who helped, the insurrection. And I just want to say it's time for them to go. It's time for Ted Cruz to go. It's time for Hawley to go. It's time for the people who gave those reconnaissance tours so that the insurrectionists would know how to get in and kill particular people. They need to go. So I'm all full of love right now for Kamala and Joe, but Ted Cruz and Hawley and the rest got to go.
Amen. Amen. Now, what's your favorite breakfast food? Because I know you're from Atlanta, Georgia, so you probably have some really delicious things that you love to have on your breakfast table.
Okay, so my favorite breakfast food is lunch. Because I've been a comedian since I was 19 years old. So me in the morning don't get along. But let's say I go to House of Pies after a show, back in the day when restaurants were a thing.
Pies.
I'm gonna have God, what do y'all call it? Over easy eggs. We call them yellow running.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yes, because the yolk is still running, or the yolk can run when you pop. So I like me some some over easy eggs. And I love grits, but so hard to find.
Yeah, well, yeah, they have like the instant 5-minute one and all that, but
That ain't grits.
I know.
But I order them off Amazon.
Oh.
Yeah, I used to have my daddy mail them to me, but they're so heavy, they cost a fortune for him to mail. So,
what brand is it that you get?
what brand grits do we get, honey? Huh? Is it what brand grit? Yeah. Quaker. He's a Yankee, so he doesn't really know anything about grits. But
we love Ray. He's coming in from Wales. Hola.
Oh, I'm Welsh. Where's Ray? I'm Welsh. Oh. My maiden name is Evans. And so, welcome from Wales.
Love it, love it, love it. Maria, do you have anything to be ITCH about?
Like Bobbie said, I can always bitch about something. While it is great that the Cheeto is out of office, and there is definitely a little more diversity, and we can see that things are changing. We still have a ton of work to do to really get to where we're trying to go with diversity, and there's so many, and it is what it is. Like, our government was founded on, what it was founded on, like genocide and slavery. So it definitely is hard for me personally to really kind of be patriotic in a way. But I think that people are fine, like people are doing their work, and we just like Bobbie said, unity. So I also want to acknowledge white women on Tinder and Bumble, everyone sending in those FBI reports like, hey, I found one. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for being that, right?
That was hilarious. Yeah.
But yeah, so but yeah, other than that, things are looking better. I will say that, So while I'll always bitch about something, I will give credit where credit is due. Things are looking better. We'll just leave it at that.
And any breakfast? What was your breakfast?
Ooh, my breakfast was delicious. I went Asian today. I made what is it called? It's more of a Chinese. It's Chinese and Korean. It's like a green onion pancake. It's like a crepe with green onions in it, and you just fry it up. So threw that on the grill, made some sausage with grilled onions and some eggs. And then for the sauce with the green onion pancake, you put like vinegar, soy sauce, and sesame oil. Fire. And my cafecito, and we're good to go. I was a happy camper.
Oh, I love it.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I had me some birthday cake from yesterday.
Happy birthday.
It was, my neighbors made it. It was like that rainbow one.
Ooh.
So it was like a vanilla cake, but it has like all the like rainbow, like Skittles, my unicorn. It was just like like my entire rainbow of just like rainbow.
How cute.
That's awesome. It was like a pride cake.
It was good. And then I do have to be ITCH because I was like, at first I was getting all this love and I was like, oh my God, I'm getting so much love on social media thing. And then I was like, oh, it's not about me. Oh, it's not about me. It's about a new America. Yes. Oh my goodness. So yeah. So and it was just such an emotional time, and it was, I look back to a year ago, and like a year in this pandemic, a year in this thing, so much has changed in my life, and it got dark. It got dark, and there's something that I really liked when they re-released the Tambourine extended cut special of Chris Rock, and he talks about being grateful for his bully, and how when he was making this movie, it just so happened to be that bully that tortured him was the security guard at the edge of the movie, and how the payback of like, you could have been my friend, but you threw me in a dumpster. And now you got to sit and make sure that people don't sneak into my set that I'm directing. That's my show. And he was like, hey, he acknowledged, I see you. We ain't friends, but I see you. And what I loved about what he talked about is like, you don't get diamonds from hugging coal. You get a dirty shirt.
Wow.
And what makes a diamond is pressure and heat and pain and suffering and challenge.
Drama.
Adversity. And I feel like we have just come out of this kiln, this heated, crucible. And now America can shine like the bright diamond that she is. And I get goosebumps because I feel like we've been under pressure. We've been in this crucible of intensity. And now we can finally polish the diamond that we know that we are. And I'm just and when he said that, when I was watching the special, I was like, yes, let's say thank you to Trump. Thank you. Because now we are stronger, better, and we will not put up with this nonsense anymore. And we are on the path to change. And
totally.
I'm not that big of a person, so I can't do that.
But hey, at least now we know who the closet racists were.
Yup, that's real, 100%.
This is okay. So I'm going to tell a quick story. I had roofers on my house in Mexico. Everybody knows I'm in Mexico. I escaped to Mexico. And the roofers are on the house, and it's shaking the foundation. And it's shaking the foundation. And what happens when you shake the foundation? All the scorpions start coming up. And scorpions just started popping out of the woodworks. Like crazy. And I'm like, oh, God, like to eat. But they all came out, got them all. And then now I'm like scorpion free for the season. So I'm like, I'm good. Not to scare you, but like.
And they all had on little MAGA hats. They all had like Trump signs.
There was some, yeah.
We don't get scorpions.
So what are some of the challenges that you have experienced in comedy?
I mean, so many. I mean, I obviously don't experience racism, not, personally toward me, but so much, obviously so much misogyny, so much sexism. And now I'm discovering ageism. Ageism is giving sexism a run for its money.
That's true, because I never noticed until really being on the scene, and I see a lot of the, like really getting out in the comedy scene as well as acting. I did, I was going on auditions before the pandemic, and like, yeah, it's really shitty how we act like there aren't elder people, like older. I don't even know what to say to make it, but we just act like there isn't anyone above like their 30s, maybe the 40s, but like after that, it's like they don't exist, in the media, in comedy, like it's really, and that is just so shitty.
Yeah, and nobody has a good story like an older person.
Yeah, honestly, my favorite show was Grace and Frankie. Golden Girls, like I love those shows. They're the best.
Mm-hmm. I do a show occasionally for people over 40 called Adults in the Room. And I also put out a list of 50 over 50 comics over 50 you should watch, because I, like everything else, I try to like react to what I see a need for. And, those shows are some of the funniest shows you will ever go to, because these people have, so much experience, but also institutional knowledge,
Yes.
So, do you think, like 20-year-olds are putting out the same kind of like comedy book, for example, that like somebody like me who's been doing it, forever, does? I mean, I'm not saying that 30-year-olds don't have plenty of knowledge and plenty of, good stories and stuff, but I'm saying, in any business, you have to look for that institutional knowledge. You have to go to the people who've been there a while and are older to really get.
All of you, click on that link, buy the book now. I ain't messing around. You buy that Tower comedy book, you make your life better. Please, you know what to do. You know what to do.
You know what to do. Yes, the Tao of Comedy, Embrace the Pause. And I'm currently doing an audio version of that book.
What does that mean, embrace the pause?
Okay, so I'm talking about, so the Tao of Comedy is about doing comedy as a spiritual path. It's about having a direct experience with life without the middleman in your head kind of narrating your way through everything. And so it's about, oh, I have the word pause tattooed on my wrist, by the way, because it's the secret to my Kung Fu. So it's about embracing the pause in your life, meditation and mindfulness, so that you can tap into that, authentic self. The whole world is shouting at you. Your job, relationships, social media, politics, traffic, the whole world is shouting at you. But your true self is whispering to you. And you can't hear it because of all the shouting. So it's about showing up in your own life and inserting space, because if you want something, first pursue nothing. Because something needs a space to move into.
Say that one more time for me.
If you want something, first pursue nothing, because something needs a space to move into.
That is so good.
But it's also about the pause on stage, about understanding the relationship between the comic and the audience. Comedy is not a monologue. Comedy is a dialogue between you and the audience. You have your part and they have their part. And their part is in the pauses.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, understanding how people absorb spoken word. So many people have just very well-written jokes, and they go up there and they talk 90 miles an hour, and people just get lost in it. And they, we get the joke because we wrote the joke. But to the audience, it's like we're shouting math problems at them. And we're not giving them time to carry the two.
Right. Process it.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That's really, like, what you're saying. I struggled so much and still kind of do. But Iggy actually taught me how to pause, because I was that person who was like going 90 miles an hour, talking,
Mm-hmm.
and wouldn't. And especially in Zoom comedy now, you have to pause. Like,
absolutely.
It's a different type of structure of comedy. Not necessarily structure, I would say, but the pause is way more important now than on stage, because on stage,
I tell comics that because it will snatch your audio.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to be good at pausing on stage, but also on Zoom, it will snatch your audio away.
Yep.
The pause is not as important as the joke. The pause is more important than the joke.
Wait. The pause is more important than the joke?
Yes, because as Miles Davis said, it's the space between the beats that count.
Oh.
I mean, it's the space between the notes that count. Because without the space, it's just white noise. It's just, it's those moments that are created. Think about like all the great speakers, Martin Luther King, Kennedy, Obama. They keep you hanging in that pause. And you're on the edge of your seat. The pause is like taking a salt shaker full of magic fairy dust, sprinkling it over your act, and making the exact same jokes 10 times funnier.
Wow. I think we just need to pause for a second.
Just pause for that. I like the pause. This pause is good.
It's everything. And if you can't pause in your life, how are you going to pause on stage?
So true.
I love that in that pause, I just looked at our viewership just jumped up. I feel like all these people started coming into the thing as soon as we got quiet.
Because they needed a space to move into.
Ooh, look at you dropping that knowledge.
So let's read Ray's message. She says, I was 57 when I first started doing stand-up, and I have such a stock of stories I didn't need to write for the first few months.
Wait, I didn't even know Ray was a comedian. Ray, we've been chatting for how many months now? That's awesome, Ray. We didn't. Wow. Anyway, we'll talk about
That is awesome. Yeah, one time VH1 came to Dow Comedy Studio, and was trying to get people to do this storytelling thing, and then they said to me, "But we're looking for young people," and I'm like, "So, you know how many stories you're missing out on? You know how many great stories? I want to hear a story from an old person." And I love you. I mean, believe me, I love you. Some of my best friends are young people. I love young people, but I'm just saying, we need all voices in comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Absolutely. You know what's funny? I grew up with an elderly, like they were retired when I was growing up in Highland Park. It was this old elder couple that retired from real estate. They lived in New York and they moved to Highland Park, right across the street from us, years prior before we got there. And it was Harry and Carol, and Harry was my best friend growing up because there weren't really kids in the neighborhood, and they were either way younger or way older, so didn't really hang out too much. But he was my best friend. I would hang out every day with him. He always like fixed my bike, or he would be working on something in the garage, and I would just hang out and talk with him. And so, like I just stay positive, stay positive. I'm still dead inside, but I still gotta stay positive. But yeah, and so even now, like I have a joke where I talk about partying at the Fallbrook Country Club a few years back, and I said, "Look, ain't no party like a geriatric party. Let me tell you, it is a good time. There's always specials. You know what I'm saying? $5 Jack and Coke, $20 filet mignon. I'm here for it."
And one of the funniest comics you'll ever see in your life is this woman named Susan Ware, Ware, and she's the queen of
her.
right. She's one of my best friends in the world. She's the queen of the one-liner.
Oh my gosh.
She and Mark Leonard. Mark Leonard is young, but the two of them are the best one-liner comics I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, Susan is amazing.
She really is. Oh my God. She kills every time. I live for her jokes.
Yeah, she was my student for a really long time, and she's fast become one of my best friends. And we drove to Portland together for the All Jane Festival.
Amazing.
Well, it used to be called All Jane No Dick, but then they changed it to All Jane, and I'm not sure if it's still going. Well, is anything still going on? But yeah, it's in Portland, and I don't recommend driving to Portland.
Really?
Like 8 hours in, we were like, "Why did we drive? Why?
Well,
why
you should plan like a little road. I just drove back from Seattle. I think if you have like time, you should make it like a road trip where you can stop, sightsee. You know what I'm saying? My favorite place to stop on the way is obviously like San Francisco area. And then Weed, California. It's like at the bottom of Mount Shasta. It's like a town stuck in time. It's like Mayberry, I swear. And yeah, like I love that area. I love driving through the area because it's all forest. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we moved here from Georgia, we stopped at, like the Grand Canyon and Austin, Texas, and New Orleans and, Vegas. And we did all this cool stuff.
Was there a culture shock from Georgia to...
Oh, to Los Angeles? It's like moving to the moon.
What was it like for you?
Well, for one thing, I went from being a liberal in a conservative place, although Georgia's blue now, bitches.
Yes.
I mean, not my family, but Georgia is blue. My daddy will die a Trump supporter. But the kind of comedy that I did on the road out there, because I performed up and down the East Coast. I was on the road full time for like 7 years. And, you have to write comedy totally differently when you're you're a liberal in a place that could get you killed for being a liberal versus being able to be out here now and talk about being a liberal compared to like my racist family. And just, I actually moved here from Athens, Georgia. I'm from Covington, which is halfway between Atlanta and Athens, but I claim to be from Athens because it's the coolest place on earth. And it's the first place I ever lived on purpose.
Well, also, Athena is the warrior. I mean, she is the female warrior. That's what it's named after. You are a female warrior in comedy and in life, so it is quite appropriate.
They need a statue of me.
Yes,
they really do.
Right next to Athena. They have one.
Oh my goodness.
What do you miss? Is there anything you miss? Like, what brought you here? Was it comedy? Like you wanted to pursue the comedy out here? Or?
Yeah, because I just got tired of being on the road. Like we owned a big house on 4 acres in Athens, and my husband Chris, who's also a comedian and he's awesome, he lived there alone basically because I was only home a day a week because
Oh,
I was
wow.
all, I performed in like 14 states regularly.
Dang.
And I wanted to do comedy somewhere and sleep in the same bed every night. Yeah, I wanted to keep doing comedy, but not be on the road anymore and this was like like laptops and like
Yeah.
regular people having the internet and so pre-smartphones. So it was like when you were alone, you were alone.
Yeah.
You were in Alabama in a Motel 6 alone.
Woo. That's scary to think about, period.
Yeah, every word in that sentence is scary.
You have a lot of experience doing comedy.
32 years.
Respect.
I should lie about that, probably. I started when I was 19 in 1988.
When did you feel that you were successful? When did you feel you, quote unquote, made it?
Well, honestly, I think it's when I redefined success.
So,
when I stopped looking at comedy as a means to an end. And, I stopped having the goal being to be rich and famous. Because if all you care about is that carrot at the end of the stick, all you care about is being rich and famous, you're going to wake up 20 years from now and realize you missed the whole thing. You missed the whole thing. So as soon as I started defining comedy as being as true to my voice as possible, and defining comedy as always writing and always trying to be brave and speaking truth to power, that's when I became successful because the goal stopped being about the carrot and it started being about the process.
About the process. I love this.
Love it.
This
Alan Watts, who's
No. I was just gonna say this was an echoing theme that we're hearing, not just from you, but from other what I consider incredibly successful, talented, creative comedians. And then the secret is success is the joyful journey. It's that saying, and I love hearing it reiterated in different ways, and I get goosebumps. I get goosebumps when I hear this, and it's like, wow, this is so true. How can I change my thinking to, instead of chasing that carrot? And then when I realized, once I get the carrot, I realized what I really wanted was an eggplant.
Plus, there's always a stick. You get one carrot, you get a new carrot. As soon as you get that carrot, if you can't make friends with the now. But Alan Watts, who's a Buddhist scholar and a Taoist scholar, says, the purpose of dancing is not to land on a certain spot on the floor when the music stops. The purpose of dancing is to dance.
Oh, that is beautiful. I love that.
So the purpose of doing comedy is to do comedy.
Oh, absolutely.
Is to express yourself.
I mean, I still want the carrot, though.
But you know what? If all you're obsessed with is the carrot, as soon as you do get a thing that you want, it's about the next carrot.
Right. And I don't think, I feel like I have a good balance because while I definitely want to be able to, of course the dream is to make the money and the fame, but that's not what it's all about. Like, I definitely do comedy because I want to touch people and have them, feel like they see themselves in me, especially like women of color, especially people who look like me. When I get someone who's like a big girl, a big brown girl, a big brown Asian Latina mixed girl, who says, oh my God, I am so, like, I felt every part of your struggle that you talked about. That is worth more than anything anyone can give me material wise. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely don't, that is not all what it's about. Absolutely. Because if it was, I don't think I would enjoy this journey, period.
Right. Plus you might be doing different material. You would be doing something that's marketable or castable or, if you are obsessed with the carrot, then it infects your voice, and not just affects, infects. It gets in there and it makes you like become a caricature of yourself. If you take bad advice, instead of expressing all sides of yourself and all the things you care. Like, do you think I'd be a feminist comedian if all I cared about was being famous?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hell no.
Bobbie, I just learned that what we do technically, I learned this in the last like year or two, that what we do is alternative comedy. And that really just, to put it in the words, I can't remember his name, but he says that really grinds my gears. You know, like the fact that we're not mainstream, that we're alternative comedy. Like comedy is comedy. And the fact that you got to put a label on it because we're not cisgendered heterosexual white men. You know what I'm saying? Like that's bullshit.
And where does that person live? Because where I live, woke comedy is the mainstream.
It's
and
right.
People who do homophobic comedy and misogynistic, racist comedy, they're the ones that are on the
finally getting pushed out.
Yeah,
finally, like, you know.
I couldn't believe it. I was sharing this story with Bobbie, and I was on a mic, and someone came for me and for one of my girls and started making like, and I was like, you know, and he made this joke about like every straight guy should have a gay friend because they're always going to be fighting for their ass.
Like,
you know, whenever I hear a guy say something like that, I want to offer them a mirror.
This is what I did. I got on the mic and I was like, baby, I'm gay. Trust me. Ain't nobody fighting for that ass, especially with that smile. Can you close your mouth? And then his hair looked like this. Like it was like this. And I was like, you see this? I look like you, but I have the decency to put on a do-rag and not painfully rape our eyes for an hour. Can you just turn off your camera? Oh my gosh. Like nothing. Like, I don't know what's worse, your comedy or the face. Like I don't know what is worse.
And the fact that these straight guys are so homophobic and they're like, ew, like, I don't want to be around a gay guy. They might try to hit on me. Baby, please. You are giving yourself too much credit.
Yeah, you're safe. Have you seen you?
Honestly, girls don't even want to hit on you. What are you talking about? Gay guys? They're way pickier than we are.
Right? I'm like, have you seen gay guys?
Honestly.
Have you seen you? You're safe.
The moment freaked me out because I was like, whoa, what if we were in a bar? What if we were in a public space and surrounded by these creepers?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh my gosh.
And you would have felt unsafe and maybe even been unsafe.
And I was like, thank God, Bobbie Oliver, you have your studio. You're doing what you're doing. We have this choice to give a safe space. Because I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, it is so important to be doing what you're doing. And I was like, and I was like, you know, I tell my sister and I tell all my girls, like, if you're going to go out, you need to bring your mace. And my sister forgot it. And I was like, girl, get your mace. Don't forget your mace. Go out, bring that mace with you.
You should sell those.
Walk into the club with the mace. Like, come on, talk to me about something. Call me fat. I would
order that, mate.
Please tell me more about the dick that I really don't want to hear about. Like, just come on, get some jokes. Because you're not getting any inches, dude. You're not getting any inches, but get some jokes.
I had a comedian friend ask me to walk her to her car. And like, because there were guys hanging out and they were very sweet, but she's like, I don't want to ask these guys to with me. You don't want to hit on straight guys. And he goes,
right? He's writing in from DC. He was my love that I fell in love with when I turned 18 in Paris, France. I went down to the Queen on the Champs-Élysées and I saw Paul and I was like, you're going to be my boyfriend. And he looked at me and I was like, t'es complètement fou, quoi. You are completely crazy. I never want to talk to you. Get away from me. But oh my God, Paul. And then I also want to give a big shout out to Mr. Will Brown. I love you, baby. Mwah, who's watching from New York. I love you, love you, love you. So sorry to interrupt. I just need to give a quick shout out. But yes, back to you.
Well, hi to those people. Yeah, you know, Dow Comedy Studio is the first intersectional feminist comedy space in Los Angeles.
We need, and the sad part is we need more.
Not the last. The Ruby is also an intersectional feminist comedy space.
I've never even heard of the Ruby.
Well, the Ruby used to be Nerdmelt or Nerdist.
Oh, the one on is it
Nerdmelt? Not Nerdist, Nerdmelt. Yeah, it used to be connected to Meltdown Comics. Yeah,
there we go.
And then they separated from Chris Hardwick and went their own way. And that building got bought out anyway. I hope I'm telling this story correctly. Lauren Bancroft, who you should have on, could tell this story more correctly. but yeah, they became they're an intersectional feminist comedy space, and like us, they have free tampons in the bathroom.
Oh
We have
yeah.
free tampons.
Yes,
I can't tell you, right? I can't tell you how many women have gone on my stage and said, "Thank you for how clean your bathroom is."
Oh my gosh, honestly. I saw that and I was like, oh my God. I'm gonna be honest. I remember I needed one and I was like, shit, I don't have one in my bag. And I saw that little lifesaver cup and I was like, thank you. So thank you, Bobbie.
Yep, I don't even wear tampons in a bag. So
I don't know what to say other than my mom, when I would complain about stuff, she's like, when I was your age, a teenager, I had to roll my own tampons. I had to wait in line to get cotton and roll my own. You complaining about how to roll a joint? I had to roll tampons my whole adolescence. And the fact, like, and I was like,
you don't even have to roll joints now. They sell them
Pre-rolled.
pre-rolled. Yeah,
God bless America, huh?
yeah, right.
Pre-rolled tampons.
Biden and pre-rolled joints and tampons.
so what
And
advice,
Kamala, that's the best part.
what advice would you give young budding comedians that are starting out or finding some pushback or freaking out, like not freaking out, but are feeling unsafe? What advice would you give to someone who maybe is in a place that's not friendly, like LA, to diversity? What would you say to those who are maybe,
It's so important to find your people.
Yes.
It's so important to find your people and to find your voice. I mean, the good thing about the internet is no matter how alternative your comedy is, then you have your audience will find you.
Yep.
People follow me, find me a lot just because I am a feminist. And some people are like, oh, I liked you even though I didn't think I would like a feminist comic. So you got to find your people. You got to find your space. And if you go to a place and they make you feel not welcome, don't ever give them your business again. Mm-hmm. Don't ever make, there's so many positive Facebook groups for comics who left toxic Facebook pages to create new pages that were supportive. I just feel like there's so many comedians and there's so many, and even if you live in like a small town, like you can online, you can find support. Like we even do a comedians depression support group.
Oh yeah, I was just telling someone about that. Please, I would love for you to talk about that.
Yeah, it's monthly, and now it's on Zoom. Obviously, everything's on freaking Zoom. But yeah, it's and I started it before Robin Williams died, and people were like, "Why would you?" That's insane. People who aren't comics would be like, "Why would comedians need a depression group?" And then right, like I said, not comic. So, and then when Robin Williams committed suicide, everybody was like, "Oh, Bobbie, you're a genius." You're I'm like, no, I'm just depressed. Oh, Cassidy, yes, make your own space. Right. That's what I did. So everything I did was a reaction to a bad experience I have. I started Dow Comedy Studio because I was teaching comedy in a place for years that was misogynistic and had just all pictures of men, coming up on the wall of who's coming to town or performing next or whatever. And just, I run a Laugh Riot Girl punk rock feminist comedy festival for 6 years because I just got tired of being like one of the only women in a festival. Or I went to one festival and I went to Vegas for the finals, and the meet and greet between the comics and the bookers was at a strip club.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like the default is always straight white males.
Yeah, not that I don't love a good titty bar, but I feel like.
Do you want to do business there?
Yeah, not.
Do I want to meet a booker while he's got somebody's titties in his face?
No, I know I have limits too.
Yeah, and they're not my titties. Excuse me. But yeah, I just felt like I started a punk rock feminist comedy club, but we have plenty of male identifying people in it also, because what happens is, like, when we made our no victim blaming rape joke policy, because guys would just come in there like, bitch had it coming, what is she, and I couldn't take it anymore. Actually, my husband came up with the rule, but he's not the one that gets the death threats over it. But I'm gonna send
you this mace. I'm gonna send you this mace, Bob.
It's like I'm trying not to cuss. It's like the jerks self-deported. When we made that policy, they got out. They just stopped coming to
Yeah.
us. And so many guys said, "Thank you. You just took all the, I'm gonna say jerks
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
by doing this, and you've made this space just so comforting." But yeah, I saw somebody comment. So Laugh Riot Girl was inspired by I'm a Riot Girl. Riot Girl is a punk rock feminist comedy festival. I mean, sorry. Riot Girls was the punk rock feminist movement in the '90s. Started by Kathleen Hanna. You should see the movie, the documentary.
Kill, right?
Yeah, Bikini, right. So you should watch the documentary, The Punk Singer. Anyway, so I relate a lot to the punk rock feminist movement because they were in an industry surrounded by men, you know, and it wasn't like a corporate thing. So you had to be accustomed to letting a certain amount of stuff slide, like we have to all the time. So that's what the Laugh Riot Girl Women Only mic is named after, and the Laugh Riot Girl Comedy Festival.
I think I missed the deadline. The last one you had, I think it was last year during the summer. Is it during the summer?
Yeah, it's every June. This year it was completely on Zoom.
This past year. Okay.
Yeah. But we had people performing from 6 different countries.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And this year, do you think, are you going to do it on Zoom, or good to tell.
Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, as they say.
I love that.
I hope it's going to be in person. You know, we have 2 outdoor spaces at Dow. We have a gorgeous patio, and we completely redid the parking lot to make it lovely.
Oh,
so yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, so we have done some outdoor mics out there and outdoor classes out there.
Right.
So we hope to be back doing it in some way in real life come June.
Right. I mean, right now, though, the numbers are, LA is the worst in the country, in the world. It's 1 in 3, the last I heard. 1 in 3 people are infected. It's insane. And I'm based out of LA, but I haven't been in LA since, I think, August. I've just been staying at my parents'. Like, I still have my place and everything, like, but I was just like, this is too scary. I'm not doing any mics. I'm not doing any shows in person anyway. Let me just, and while like it's awful, but I actually find the silver lining in this pandemic, because I really feel like comedy has just become something greater, because we have so much more networking now because of online connections. And like you said, 6 different countries, like that's so amazing to me. Like, I'm doing a show actually this week or next week, I'm sorry, on in the UK, based out of the UK. Like, how freaking cool is that I'm like, yeah, international hoe now.
yeah. One of my comedy students right now is in the UK. 2 of them are in Seattle. One of them's in Washington, D.C. I think Zoom is going to be in some way part of our lives forever.
Definitely. Yeah. It just has a wider audience, and then what's even better is, like, once we're live again, we'll have more connections to be like, hey, come through. I'm going to be in Seattle. I'm going to be in New York. I'm going to be in Chicago. I think that's amazing, because let's be honest, it was definitely number 1, a boys club. And number 2, like, it's just so, like, it's such a close, like, they just there were so many gatekeepers. But now we just busted through the gates. We busted wide open, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, the internet helps people find their audience and their people.
Now I'm getting all warm and fuzzy. I would love for my favorite part of the show, monologues, and I want to open it up even past moms, because everybody's heard all my mom stories, but opening it also to the strong women in our lives. And see, I'm getting choked up. How have your mother, or maybe you were raised by your grandmother, or other strong women that have influenced you, what were some of those pieces of knowledge, if you don't mind sharing your favorite?
I mean, my mama was problematic because she came from a really abusive background herself, but she was a feminist, and so, like, and I also kind of came of age when Charlie's Angels was on TV, and The Bionic Woman, and Wonder Woman, and and my mama used to play Helen Reddy's I Am Woman, on the record player all the time. And I just kind of came up kind of sheltered at first from the idea that women couldn't do stuff, that women weren't allowed to do stuff. So I don't know if there's anything in particular that she always said to me, although she did once say to me, as long as you can look at yourself in the mirror and be proud of what you've done, don't worry about what anybody else says about how you conduct yourself or how you live your life. And so that I think was something that really, really stuck with me. So I try to just be like, living my own truth and trying to be honest with myself about my own flaws, but taking what everybody else says kind of with a grain of salt, even though I'm a crazy person. I mean, I'm obviously a crazy person, and I obviously obsess about all the stalkers and the trolls and the harassers. But, I'm just trying to be the best me I can be.
Yeah.
I hear that. I heard this really great quote that resonates with us. Like, you're never going to get happy from things. You're going to get happy of who you become.
Yes.
And that's seeing yourself in the mirror and being happy of who you become and who you are growing into. That will bring you joy.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter how many Gucci belts you put on. If you don't like who you see in the mirror and who you're
right.
and who you are, then, what's it all for?
And can I give my own monologue piece of advice?
Yes!
Oh, yes, please.
Yes!
My philosophy is twofold. One, create your own opportunities. If those opportunities are not there for you, create them. And then number two, reach back for someone.
What does that mean?
Reach back for a sister. Reach back for someone who you created this opportunity, but it's not just for you. Reach back for someone,
Be
yes.
of service, help them. Like, it's not like
right. So I didn't just create my own performance opportunities. I'm trying to book as many women as I possibly can.
Yes, pulling up the sisters.
We're trying to book as LGBT people and people of color, and so don't just be that thing. Don't just create that opportunity for yourself. Reach back for a sister or reach back for someone else.
Love that. I love that.
I also, that's something I do want to bring up, just to touch a little, to further whatever, in being a woman in comedy, being a woman in general, like, society has conditioned us to be catty towards each other. And I know we're all working towards that to, not to just break that down. Me specifically, be the change you want to see. And I really just want women to just do more, like, be more self-aware, be like, when you see another woman, like, for me, I want, when women see me at the comedy clubs, like I said, that girl wanted me to walk her to her car and whatnot. Like, if you see me at the club and you feel uncomfortable in any type of way, come talk to me. Like, be like, you could literally just say, hey, I'm just feeling uncomfortable. There's a lot of guys and I don't feel like that comfortable around here. That, you could say that. And I would be like, absolutely. You could just come sit next to me and be like, hey, what's up? And I think we really need more of that welcoming vibe amongst women, because too many times I see, and not to throw shade, but I'm going to throw shade because this is my truth. I have dealt with being a big girl all my life, and I know that pretty girl syndrome is a thing. Okay. I just need y'all to recognize that, like, pretty girl syndrome is a thing. And it's very common that I see the pretty girl in the center of guys. And while she might be, that's her comfort zone, because she knows that they're going to do whatever she wants in a way. We need to also, she also gives off this catty vibe, because you try to talk to her, but the moment you even deflect any attention from her, she gets catty towards you, even if you're not trying.
We're raised to be competitive, like, if there's 10 dudes in a show and only one woman, we're mad at the woman for taking our spot. It's like, no, be mad at the 9 dudes who half of them aren't even funny, So the reason why my women only mic is women only and men are not even allowed in the room to watch it all is because I used to run a women only mic that was in a sandwich shop, And I noticed a huge difference in the women when there were no men in the room and when one guy would come in the room to order a sandwich. As soon as one man entered the room, all the women changed. They changed toward each other, how they treated each other. They changed what things they would talk about on stage. Like it was like tangible. You could see this change in them. And so I think it's important that women bond in the absence of men. Women bond, just have that space where they can just, and people criticize me for it all the time. But I've been doing comedy for almost like over 20 years before I looked around the room at the women only mic and said, I've never been in a room with 25 of my peers before.
Right.
And men get that experience. Right. And men get that experience every night of their lives.
Yes. It's catered to them.
So I think, I think it's helped to grow the community now that when we see each other out at another mic that's mostly men, we're like, oh, we know each other from the women's mic and we're not competing with each other. And I love men. Like I said, I'm married to a straight white male comic.
Yeah. What's it like to be with, we have a question. What's it like being married to someone who's a comedian?
It's great. It actually is. Because he's not the crazy kind of comedian like I am. He's kind of mentally secure. His parents loved him. It's a whole thing. But we met doing comedy, and we've been together since we were 19, and we're now 52. And so
wow,
we're not competitive in any way. I guess you would say I'm more ambitious than he is, and he likes it that way. So we don't compete. But also I can ask him, things like, I don't recommend asking your spouse questions about jokes unless they're comedians. But I would say, does this sound better like this, or does it sound better like that? Or is this kind of tone deaf? Am I missing something here? The only negative is that when something big happens in our lives, we both write jokes about it. So we have, we'll be like, are you going to use that? Can I have that? Are you going to,
like the last cookie?
Right.
Like,
so we
split the cake. You're like, oh, wait. Do I share it? Do I keep it to myself? I don't know what to do.
But we're good at splitting the cookie.
Okay.
I mean, you also have different perspectives. I think
Yes.
I would assume that you could use the same event and kind of cater it so that,
Yeah, if you're true to your authentic voice, you're always going to have a different take.
Right.
He's a feminist comic, and he's political as well as I am. But we'll tell same jokes about the same political event, and there'll be completely different takes on them.
Like you said, if you're a comic.
I keep saying this word, authentic voice, authentic. What does that mean to you? And what would you tell people who, and this is your other comedian or whoever, that's searching for their authentic voice or their authenticity? Mm-hmm. What is that?
Well, a search for your persona is a search for your true self. So rather than, if you're about the future, if you're about the carrot at the end of the stick, your persona is going to be a caricature because you want to be marketable. And so that's not showing all sides of yourself. So your authentic self is all sides of yourself, flaws and all, unpopular opinions and all. And so it's just kind of letting your authentic self reveal itself to you, letting your persona reveal itself to you through, meditation and mindfulness and, not being afraid to try different things. It's really just listening to yourself versus listening to everything else. Everyone else's advice about what you should be because you look a certain way, or you're a certain ethnicity, or you're a certain sexual orientation, or you're, no, I'm all of those things.
Yes.
World, are you watching? Let's get some snaps. She's speaking some truths. This is,
that's a struggle. I feel like I've been struggling with that lately because while, I had some issues, like my name, Mariah De La Ghetto, and you know, it's not really palatable or marketable to, you know, it like to everyone. It's very specific. And, you know, in the mainstream, I would have to project a certain caricature, like you said. And while a part of me is definitely defined, like a piece of me, a facet of my personality is from the hood. I grew up in the hood. I grew up in the ghetto. That's not all of me. And so me portraying this completely like cholad out, like, you know, Latina, like whatever, I think that's doing my community an injustice, because I'm not just a hood bitch, you know. Like I was a hood bitch who liked to read Anne Rice. Like I'm still down for La Raza, but La Raza also likes to read poetry, and they go to, you know, college, and they are well rounded, you know. And that's what I want to portray, is like I want a little girl from the hood to see me and be like, yo, she made it. You know, she did. She's doing it. So I'm hoping.
And there's more than one kind of way to be a hood bitch.
Right. You know? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like we had the same struggle for the most part. Like that's what brings us together, is our commonality, where we grew up, how we grew up. But we were all different. We all had our different personalities and interests, no matter what, you know? So I want to break that misconception, basically, you know?
And you're giving somebody else permission to do that also.
Right.
By watching you do it. They're like, oh, I should hide this side of myself that's not tough or that's not whatever.
Yes.
But you're giving, you know, you're being all sides of yourself, and you're growing and learning. So you express who you are, that you know yourself to be, and then you allow yourself to grow and change, and then you express that. And you just continue to not be married to this persona, this caricature, this false self.
Right.
You know, rather than letting the persona be an amplification of yourself, of your true self. And it's also about writing from the true self, not from the ego.
Yes.
You know, not writing from the voice in your head, but writing from that silence. You know, and if you, you know, if you think, does my voice matter? Can I contribute anything to this body of work that is comedy? There's a story that goes, God split itself into every possible thing. You know, every rock, every tree, every person, every squirrel, every mountain. So God could see itself from every possible point of view. So you are literally the only person on earth that can show the rest of us what it's like from your specific point of view.
Right.
And if all you were was hood, or all you were was, you know, a woman, or all you know, that's not your specific point of view.
Right.
So you have to let all those things go into it. So if you're out there wondering, does your voice matter? Your voice is the only one that can tell us how things are from how you see it. We need your voice in that conversation. Like Iggy was saying in the beginning, you know, all the different, you know,
all the
colors
shine brightly. So we can see that light. What makes light? All the spectrum. And so if you're feeling, and I love what you just said, just to reiterate, if you're feeling, does my voice matter? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And representation matters.
Absolutely.
And when you feel alone, you're not alone, because there's someone else out there that's feeling the same thing.
Yes.
Going through the same thing.
Even if they don't look like you or aren't from the same place you're from, or, you know, it matters. You matter.
I am just so honored.
Yes.
Hour.
Like this was like the power hour, Bobbie.
Yes.
This was so fun.
And I'm feeling good.
Like I'm gonna put this on replay and just watch this show on replay. It's been such an amazing, heartfelt, just good.
You have an amazing energy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, hey, y'all watch my comedy special on Amazon Prime.
Right. Bobbie Oliver, greatest hits on Amazon. Buy the book, The Tao of Comedy, Embrace the Pause.
It's my greatest hits album. It's my favorite jokes from 32 years of doing comedy. It's my 5th album. It's an hour and 45 minutes long. You can watch me on Amazon Prime. And if you like it, leave a review. I guess even if you don't like it, you could leave a review, whatever you want to do.
As long as it comes from a place of truth and honesty.
You know what? I'm not so big on honesty
You know what? Just never some compliments. Just find the good part, okay?
Find the good. Find the good. No, you'll love it. It's it's fun.
I love it. I love it. Maria, do you got anything going on this weekend?
Yeah, actually, I'm a busy bee. Tonight I have a show with Dat Fan. You can text for the Zoom info. If you want to put that number up, Iggy, it's a free show. And then on Saturday, I haven't put out the flyers yet, but Bobbie, you should come if you want to just hang out, watch the show. We're gonna I'm hosting a birthday roast for Iggy on Saturday. So I'll send you the link, if you want to come watch, and then I'm gonna leave the Zoom open afterwards so we can hang out, have a little birthday party over Zoom. And then Sunday, I have the panel with Benji. That's a live on Facebook. You can find it on Up Virtual Comedy Shows. I also post it on my Facebook. So I have all of that going on this weekend. You can find all of my stuff on my Linktree or on my Instagram, Facebook. It's all Mariah De La Ghetto on all platforms. If you type in my name, I'll come up and you'll see all of it. But yeah, so fun stuff.
Tickets.
So that one's for tonight. It starts at 6 p.m. A lot of great comedians on there. It's a lot of fun. And like I said, free show. Hey, why not? What you got going on? We in quarantine. You ain't going nowhere. Pull up, get your beer or water. I don't care. It's always a fun time. So yeah.
Or your pre-roll joint.
Or your pre-roll joints. Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to drop a link in the thing. I'm competing in a comedy competition tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. When's that? Tomorrow?
Yeah. So I've dropped the link. It's the U.S. comedy competition. And I'm just going to go have fun and bring the house down. I mean, I am going to win, but I'm there to have fun and just be crazy. I'm going to try to keep the crazy.
My best friend won that.
So it just doesn't overtake the whole audience, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So
my best friend Sally Mullins won that. For over 20 years.
Oh my gosh. She is a funny lady. She's very sweet. She's
awesome. She also has an Amazon Prime special. So after you watch my Amazon Prime special, Great Bobbie Oliver Greatest Hits, you can watch Sally Mullins.
I will do that.
Sleazy Does It.
Love it. Sleazy Does It. Sleazy Does
Sleazy Does It. I love that.
That was one of the best shows I've seen on Misfit Toys. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you.
Thank you for everyone to just watching and joining.
Everybody, it's been such a just amazing show. I can't thank you enough, Bobbie, for spending this hour with us.
Yes.
This is going on repeat. I love
Thank you. And thanks everybody who watched. I saw my girl Nicole was on here too. So thanks everyone who watched, and thanks y'all for having me.
Yes.
Anytime.